Now, new law has been proposed this week will make the picketing of politicians' private homes a criminal offence punishable by fines and imprisonment. Senator Malcolm Byrne of Fianna Fáil is to introduce the protection of private residents against targeted picketing bill in the Seanad this week. He joins us now. Senator, why are you introducing this bill?
Good morning, Shane.
Morning.
Well, I would have thought that there would never have been a need for legislation in this area. The right to protest in Ireland is very important. We've always protected the right to peacefully protest. But unfortunately, we have a small fringe who, as we've seen, have taken their protests now outside the private homes, not just of politicians, but in the chief medical officer, outside the homes of broadcasters. And I just don't think that it's acceptable. If you want to protest, protest outside Leinster House or a government department, but somebody's private home, it should be a safe place.
Okay, there will be some people, and look, I agree with you. There's something very distasteful about going outside somebody's home, particularly when there's children in there and stuff. It's very intimidating. There will be people who say the right to protest is the right to protest, and if you live in a democracy, we have to accept that.
Yeah, but every right is balanced with a responsibility, and an individual also has, under the Constitution and the European Convention on Human Rights, a right to privacy. So if I disagree with something that Newstalk is doing, certainly I can go and I can protest outside Newstalk studios, but that doesn't make it right for me to go and protest directly outside your home. In every instance, every competing right has to be balanced. And it's not just obviously the person who you're targeting is going to be impacted. If you protest outside somebody's home, it's an individual's family, often children are involved and their neighbours.
Yeah, okay.
And frankly, it's distasteful.
It is distasteful. What kind of punishments are you talking about in this bill?
So, as I said, hopefully it would never rise, but it's to give the Gardaí the power, if it does happen that there are targeted protests. In the case of a first offence, we're looking at a fine. But in the case of a second or subsequent offence, if convicted, the person could be subject to a fine of up to €5,000 or imprisonment for up to 12 months.
Okay.
As I'd say, I would hope it would act as a deterrent rather than something that would ever have to
hopefully it will.
used.
I'm just wondering, is it going to be tricky to implement? I'm just thinking about my own house. It's on a public road. So, I mean, would people say we've the right to stand here in this public road? It just happens to be outside, this person's house.
What I'm talking about is the legislation provides for targeted protest within 200 metres.
Okay.
So, yes, of course, if somebody's protesting about something else that happens to be in your vicinity, that's not a case. But if there are placards that,
targeting an individual
and shouting their name, then it's very clear it's a targeted protest.
You're confident that can be done legally. Can I just ask you, Malcolm, before you go? I mean, we saw what happened, the awful death of David MS in the UK and Joe Cox previously. Are you concerned? Have you ever been concerned for your personal safety as a TD, as a senator?
I think it's fair to say, if you look at the two British MPs, David Amess and Joe Cox, what they were both doing at the time was they were having constituency clinics, which is no different to what politicians all over Ireland in all parties and none do.
Have you ever been threatened at one of your clinics?
Not at a clinic. On the street, yes, and then email and online harassment is something.
And sorry, I know the online stuff is just routine, and I don't mean to in any way diminish it by saying that. But the on-street one, was it intimidating? Did you fear for your safety?
I suppose not really, in the sense that, unfortunately, for a lot of politicians, even though it's not acceptable, we've become used to the kind of level of abuse that a very small minority will hurl. And I think it's important for us as politicians that we stand up for the profession. It's a noble profession. But also, I think we're very lucky in Ireland, the level of accessibility that we have to politicians. I mean, people know you could walk up to any TD, senator, councillor, minister, even the Taoiseach, and put a question to a politician, or even let a politician know what you think. And I think it would be terrible to lose that level of accessibility. But unfortunately, we have seen these small fringe groups on the extreme left and particularly on the extreme right who are causing real damage to our body politic.